We'll record it first. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to my new podcast channel, which I'm starting up from today. Hopefully to do a podcast once a week with guests and sometimes just me because I'm boring. But today I am joined with Seb from SLGaming. Say hello, Seb.
Hello, everyone. So, as Craig has said, I'm going to be joining him today on his podcast. I am from SLGaming. You can find me on Twitch and YouTube. And we're just going to be talking about some different topics today.
Yeah, that's right. So how long now have you been doing this SLGaming for?
So, I started in the later stages of COVID-19. Back when we all had to stay at home, I was trying to find something to try and do. Yeah. Since we obviously weren't allowed to leave the house. So I've probably been doing it for about 2 months now. I kind of like spiked in the first week trying to do as much as I can. Then it kind of like died down a little bit, and now I'm trying to get into like a routine for my streaming uploads.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. What kind of sparked the enthusiasm into the whole streaming aspect?
Well, I've always liked gaming. To be honest, I think it was just watching other YouTubers game, and I really enjoyed their content, and they're all really like funny people. Like, they are obviously naturally funny people, so I thought I might as well just give it a go and see where it leads, to be honest. Any particular YouTubers or streamers you can think of that kind of inspired you to? Yeah, two people inspired me the most to try and set this up. One was Markiplier. Right, okay, yeah. And the other one is Daz from Daz Games.
Right. Yeah, I do enjoy watching Daz.
Both are very funny people naturally.
Yeah.
Yeah, they definitely thought, you know what, if they can do it, I'll give it a go and see if I can do it.
Yeah, well, that's fair enough. Yeah, obviously I watch Markiplier and Daz as well, and I do thoroughly enjoy their stuff because their content is pretty funny most of the time.
The one thing that I keep getting scared of doing, though, is there's two things that you can do to get views, and A, be naturally funny, which obviously only applies to certain people, or B, it's to play scary games and jump scares and basically scare yourself for the viewers' entertainment.
Make people laugh or make people cry. That's really how it happens.
But I am a massive wimp and I hate horror games.
I don't know if any of you have watched Seb. We recently did a video together where we played Phasmophobia, and I think Seb's got a little bit scared at one point.
Yep. So that video is currently on Chud-Odin-Son 88's Twitch account. I've also downloaded it from his Twitch, and I've done some editing to it, and it's now on my YouTube account. So you can find it on YouTube if you wanted to see me wet myself.
Yeah, pretty much. It's a strange game, Phasmophobia, because when you're watching someone playing it, you think that it's not that scary, but then when you play it yourself and you're concentrating on it, your mind just kind of fixates onto the game and anything that happens, and it just freaks you out. This is a strange concept.
Watching it third party is so much different. You can just chill out, watch the game, and you know nothing's really going to happen. Yeah. Because, well, to be honest, when you're watching it if you watch YouTube on the TV, you're also further away from the screen.
That's
Whereas
true.
when you're actually playing the game, you're about a foot to a foot and a half away from the screen. So everything's like in your face. You've got the surround sound music from the game and the headset.
And you're on edge as well. You're waiting for something to happen. You're just I know this isn't going to go well.
Constantly on the edge of your seat, waiting for something to happen.
So what's your setup then for streaming? How'd you do it?
So actually, I've got kind of two different setups. So I've got a PlayStation 5 setup and a PC setup. So for the PlayStation 5 setup, we'll talk about that one first, is I actually started streaming on PlayStation 5 first. And that's essentially that's the only setup I had was the PlayStation 5, obviously the TV, and just a webcam attached to my PS5 console. And it meant I can stream games. I've got the webcam on me. I can have people talk and chat through like the in-game overlays. And I was streaming mainly Dead by Daylight, which is it's classed as a horror game, but it's really not that scary. It's you can get the occasional jump scare when the killer comes around the corner and you're not expecting it, but I wouldn't really class it as a horror. It's probably more of a thriller game. But yeah, so I started on there, and then wanted to download those streams and try and do the editing for them. But editing on the PS5 is just so much harder. Yeah. So then decided to get the PC and try and do some editing on the PC. And then I thought, oh well, while we've got the PC, we might as well do some editing and streaming on the PC as well. So yeah, so that's the two setups that I got. I got the PlayStation and the PC, and then for the PC it's just another webcam, the gaming headset that can plug straight into the console, and yeah, that's basically it. The monitor, the keyboard, the mouse, console. So that's kind of both my setups, and to be fair, the PC is a more recent one. We've only had the PC for about, I think, 2 weeks, so that's still new and trying to learn how to use that properly for streaming.
Expensive investment.
Oh yes, that's that's being paid off month by month.
Yeah, it's just all the other things you got to get as well. So, I mean, you don't have to do what I did and get a microphone and speakers and stuff, but in order to perform in the market that you want to aim for, which is streaming and stuff like that, you kind of need it.
Yeah, I mean, if you just want to relax and chill out and just do that, just pure editing with it, you don't really need any fancy equipment. But no. If you want to use it to start streaming and you want to use it for, like, you know, podcasts and stuff like that, you definitely want to invest in some decent quality stuff. I mean, you don't really want, you know, £10 knockoff versions.
No.
You're going to want to put some money and effort into your equipment.
Hopefully it all pays off and you can pay towards new equipment and stuff.
Yeah, one day maybe. I do
That's
have
the dream.
A goal.
That is the dream.
When I stream from Twitch on the PC, I can edit the videos a lot more than I can edit on PS5. So if I'm streaming through the PC, I've got like a follower goal that basically comes up on screen when I'm starting off my stream. So I've currently got a follower goal of 25 followers that I want to hit before September 25th.
Yeah.
And then it's just basically small stepping stones, right?
Yeah, it takes a while to get into it, I think. If you look at like the big YouTubers, like you mentioned earlier, like Daz and Markiplier and PewDiePie and that lot, they all started back in the early 2000s.
Oh yeah,
they've been going for years and years. And
I think when I last checked, I think Markiplier's last video was about 8 or 9 years ago.
It's crazy, isn't it?
But I just wanted to... I went through his whole YouTube profile just to see what he was like when he first started off. And obviously, he's famous now. His first video still got millions of views because obviously people who are interested in him have clearly gone back to check out his earlier content. But you can see the difference in quality and just his general attitude between his first ever video and what he's posting now. And it's
baby face.
Yeah, he's definitely got the baby face going on, and his whole persona has just changed and developed over time as well. Just, you know, with that relationship. I mean, it's not a face-to-face relationship, but it's still a relationship. It is in a way,
isn't it? It's still, if you're... I mean, I'm one of those people that will watch YouTube every day, and I'll look for Mark's video, or I'll look for Shmee's, or whoever it is. And then, because you see their face every day...
I think for the viewers, it's definitely a face-to-face relationship because with webcams, you can see the face, you can see, you know, if they've got a new haircut or, you know, anything that's changed about them appearance-wise, you can see that. For the streamers themselves, you can't see that, but I think it's still incredibly important because, like, when I read blogs about all these famous people, they are saying that not only do they have an impact on their viewers' lives, but the viewers impact their lives as well.
Yeah.
I mean, no one starts streaming and says, in 10 years' time I'm going to be famous. You just start doing it, see how you get along, and you just roll on from there.
So I was watching a video the other day, and it was Shmee150, and he was doing a podcast with Seen Through Glass, and I didn't actually realise that some of the cars he buys purely because he knows he'll get the views.
Oh, wow.
So he got a BMW. I say he got one. He's had one before, but he recently got a BMW because he knows that will pull in the people that enjoy watching videos about BMWs.
So did he not really have interest?
So he doesn't want it.
Video?
No, he's got the cars he wants because he's obviously got his like really fancy Senna and stuff like that because he knows. He said like cars like his GT8, there's not really a fan base out there because there's just an Aston Martin. He got that for himself, but stuff like his BMW or his GT his AMG GT, he got that car in order to get the views from the people.
It makes sense, to be honest, because obviously you have to tailor to whatever the audience wants. You can't just randomly talk about, your pet chinchilla that you got the other day. You need to talk about whatever the viewers are interested in, and you need to always work out what the next new thing's going to be, so you can get ahead of everyone else.
That's where it gets dangerous.
Yeah, because you can either hit the bullseye and get it dead on, and your like viewers and stream and all your channels would just boost up, or you can just completely hit in the wrong ballpark and just go downhill. Well, I mean, the like famous people wouldn't go downhill because
they've already got that crowd,
the fan base prepared. But any newcomers, that's where they're going to struggle.
It's always that thing because obviously I've tried to get into doing this stuff myself, and I've always thought, do I go and buy a £60 game that everyone else is going to have on that same day, do a video on it, and probably not hit anybody because Mark's done it, or
with the
someone else bigger than Mark or whatever.
Markiplier's a big name in YouTube, but even for those people that aren't quite big names but have a decent fan base, they're doing the same idea that everyone else has got. They're gonna go out and buy the brand new latest game, pre-order, and start playing it straight away, streaming it, download, recording.
Well, look how quick that Resident Evil stuff came out.
Exactly.
The game was out 3 days ago, and I think I seen a YouTube video up that night.
Exactly.
Of someone completing the game. It's like seriously,
Wow.
It's like, oh god, you need to get a life.
Exactly. I mean, I know some people book time off work just to play a brand new game.
Yeah, but
and I mean, if that's what you want to do, that's fair enough. But like,
I can't keep up with that.
But to be able to complete the game within 24 hours, it's just insane.
Let's say an average game's like 8 hours, so you've played an 8-hour game, probably done it in 6 because you've just paced through things.
Yeah.
Then you've edited it, so
I think that just takes the enjoyment out of the game, to be honest.
Yeah.
I personally
it just becomes a job then, doesn't it? Because you're playing the game not for enjoyment, which is what I do.
Yeah, exactly.
You're playing the game because you need to get the viewers, because you need to get the subs, because you need to get the money.
Exactly.
So you're just doing it for demand, which is what I wouldn't want to go down. And I think that's what I never talk about Markiplier quite a lot, but he's obviously quite influential towards me. But I noticed that's what he was doing at one point, and that's when he had that breakdown and he said, "Look, I need to stop because this is just killing me because I'm doing things to just please people," when he just decided, no, fuck it, I'm going to do what I want.
Exactly. That's the one thing that, I mean, obviously this isn't my full-time job, and I'm saying this from now, it will never be my full-time job. I enjoy the current job I have, but this is always going to be on the side for my enjoyment first.
Yeah. And if it earns you a little bit of money on the side, then
yeah, exactly. If it does earn me money, then that's an added bonus. So that goes into my back pocket, and
pays towards the next game.
Yeah, that'll pay towards either better equipment,
better graphics
next
card.
Game, graphics cards, capture cards, all those kind of stuff, and that will just pay my way to improve my viewers.
Talking about expensive things, sorry about this photo because for some reason this streaming thing will not let us turn this over. But I don't know if you can work out what you can see there, but this is Seb's setup for his chameleon that he has, Pascal. So he wanted to talk about his chameleon because he's had a couple now and he kind of loves them a bit, I guess, because it's his pet. And that one also is sideways for some reason, but I don't know why. But it looks like he's climbing a tree, but actually he's talking to the mic because he's joining us on the podcast. But yeah, anyway, so Seb's a bit of a fanatic for chameleons.
Yeah.
And you wanted
yeah,
to talk.
So
So go ahead. What do you want to say?
I mean, to be honest, any kind of reptile, I do love reptiles just in general. However, chameleons for me are at the top of that list. I don't know what it is about chameleons that first got me interested. Obviously, a lot of people say that they change colours and stuff like this. However,
Not really.
That's the thing though, because they tend to have their base colour, and that is their normal colour throughout most of their life. They only really change colour very rarely to either show aggression, if it's their time of the season, if you get what I'm saying, to try and
Not like an
invite a
octopus.
female to mate with.
Yeah.
But it is typically the males are more colourful.
Yeah.
Females do tend to stay a bit of a kind of like a pale orange kind of colour. They are a lighter colour. But no, males do tend to show their colours a bit more, and that one is a male. But his name's Pascal. So
How old is Pascal?
Pascal's now he's coming up to about 2.5 years now.
Right. So they do live quite long then.
Yeah, in the wild they're about 4 to 5 years, but in captive conditions where we can control how much light they're getting and control so you have to feed them with supplements like calcium supplements, vitamin D and stuff like that. But if you can get them in the right conditions, then they go from just around 4 to 5 years up to about 7 years. So it's only an extra 2 years, but it just shows the fact that we
a healthy diet and that sort of thing.
More
than
what they can care for themselves.
I suppose that's the same with most things, I guess, really, isn't it? If you can look after it and feed it and nourish it and give it the right things, it will live longer. Like a plant, for example. If you look after a plant, it will live longer. But yeah, not very cheap though.
No, they are not. I think the average chameleon. Obviously, it all depends on what shop you go to. I went to one shop and they quoted me £500 for a chameleon, and I walked straight out of that shop because that is not an average price for a chameleon.
That's a lot of money.
The average price for a chameleon is around £250 to £300. So as soon as I was quoted 500, I walked out of that shop and I've been in that shop since. I will not
check your pockets, make sure you still have your wallet, because they just robbed you. Well, tried to rob you anyway. But
yeah. So
what about the setup though? Obviously, I can't imagine it's easy setup.
The setup is so important. That's one thing that new chameleon owners tend to overlook.
You can't just stick them in a plastic tub and
no, that's the thing. You have different types of vivariums. You can have a mesh one like I've got in this image here. You can go for a glass one, a wooden one.
It's a sideways mesh.
But essentially different. And well, firstly, if you have a male and female, you want different sizes because males grow to be slightly larger, and then you want a different size compared to a baby chameleon to a fully adult chameleon. For an adult male so Pascal, he's a panther chameleon. For an adult male panther, you want the extra large reptibres, which is what the photo is here.
Sideways.
Sideways one. Luckily, I managed to get that one kind of cheap because the chap that made it for me, all proceeds go to a chameleon charity. So he takes in old, battered vivariums and does them up himself, sells it on for a profit, and then that profit goes to charity. So I actually managed to get the vivarium kind of cheap compared to others. But it's not just the vivarium, it's the lights as well. So on top of the vivarium you have a heat bulb which emits obviously heat, and they need to be at a certain temperature. Again, that then changes from adult to female, adults to baby chameleons, and from males to females. You also have a strobe light, which is kind of hard to work out, but it's the long kind of fluorescent tube, and that emits UVB, which helps to grow their bones and stronger. You also need live plants to keep humidity up, and any water droplets will cling to leaves, because chameleons are, even though they've got two independent eyes that can look in different directions, they are kind of blind because they can't see still water. So you need to mist them depending on the different species of chameleon, depends on how much you have to mist them, and different. So like Yemen chameleons, you mist twice a day, but for panthers, you need to mist them 3 times a day. So I've got a mister in there that does that for me automatically, and the lights come on and off automatically. The lights need to be on for 12 hours a day and then off for 12 hours. So it's all expensive, and the more stuff you add, the more expense obviously goes into the equipment. But yeah, decent misting systems like £150. The lights are like £50.
Not cheap.
Each.
No,
Yeah,
not cheap at all. It's not like owning a snail.
No, I mean the plants itself, because you have to have live plants. Obviously, plants aren't cheap these days. I don't know why plants are so expensive, but I think the plants came up to about £125 altogether. I think, including Pascal and the setup, it's coming up to probably about £800 in total.
Ooh, ouch.
One thing about chameleons is obviously the food that they eat themselves. They have to be live food. You can't get dead things and present that to a chameleon, because the chameleon won't be interested. So you need to get live bugs. So they can eat crickets, locusts, dubia roaches, calcium worms, Mario worms. However, Mario worms are a treat, so they do need a balanced diet of loads of different insects, but you need to keep those insects healthy, because you know the saying, you are what you eat. So you need to make sure the bugs are healthy, so when you feed the bugs to the chameleon is healthy.
I am a Big Mac. Well, no, I don't really like Big Mac. I prefer double cheeseburger, quarter pounder, but I am pretty much a quarter pounder. So
yeah, chameleons are they are an expensive pet to have, and annoyingly, depending on the chameleon you have, it can be like people as well. So you can either just be lucky and get a sociable chameleon, or you can just be very unfortunate and get an aggressive one. But they are more of a trophy pet, where you just have them on display and you don't really interact with them much. But you can get them out from time to time, but it's not recommended to handle them every day.
So you've probably just been watching me turn it up and down, thinking it's my mic. It's not. It's the whole mics, all of them together.
What, for volume?
Yeah. Let's hope that I didn't turn it down too much.
I am pretty sure the mic GTX though is just your one, isn't it?
Yeah, but I was doing that one there.
Right. Well, we'll see how this goes, I suppose.
Yeah, we'll try and error.
First one is for trial and error, I suppose, isn't it?
Fuck. I hope I haven't ruined it. Right, so what's the next? We'll go on to your MMA fighting.
Yes, so, oh god, when was this? This was probably about 2 years ago now. It was,
That's what I wanted to do.
it was for, Cancer Research UK. So, oh man, this was going back ages ago now. So, basically, I was recommended to join this by a friend. Actually, the photo you see now is of me and my friend, who was actually the one that recommended that I join Ultra MMA. And unfortunately, towards the end, it just turned up that we actually were paired against each other to fight in the final fight. But yeah, no, basically it was for Cancer Research UK. I've always kind of been interested in mixed martial arts. It is definitely something for fitness-wise that I wanted to start doing anyway. And so I thought, yeah, why not? I'll give it a go. So, yeah, it's a 8-week program, so it's very short but very intense. You go 3 times a week for the 8 weeks. Our instructor basically said we are not allowed to have any fast food. We are not allowed to have any alcohol. Do you think I listened? Obviously not. At that point in time, I lived literally across the road from a pub. You could throw a stone from my bedroom window and it will land in the pub. So not having alcohol for 2 months was a bit hard for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was actually quite good.
So you actually competed then? You actually ended up fighting this person that's in the photo with you?
Yeah. So after the 8 weeks, we kind of did a trial fight where our head coach would kind of analyze each individual fighter on their groundwork and their sparring. So obviously MMA, mixed martial arts. Obviously it's not just stand on your feet and box. It's also kickboxing, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, all sorts. We focus on Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu for our groundwork. But yeah, it was definitely intense, but about a week before the fight night, we did like a trial fight, and in the end, I was paired up with my friend. And it was just like, I think if I didn't pair up against my friend, I would have done a lot better. But in the cage on the night, I had to literally look at my friend in the eye and basically say,
just beat the shit
for the next 10 minutes, you're not my friend.
No, it's hard, I guess.
hate you, you know?
Yeah.
And I couldn't make that connection, unfortunately. I think I struggled with that, and unfortunately I did lose the fight. In the end, my friend got me in a standing guillotine. For anyone out there that doesn't quite know what that means, it's basically like a headlock.
Yeah. Well, we used to do to each other in school. Just grab each other around the neck and just squeeze.
Yeah, just basically squeeze around your neck, stop the oxygen getting into your lungs. And unfortunately, I had to tap out, and I am really gutted with myself because that was the first round. So it was just so unfortunate. I got myself in a stupid situation, and looking back on it now, I know exactly what I had to do to get out of that situation. But in the time, it's so much different.
You thinking about doing it again? Getting in?
Well, before COVID-19, I did sign up to do a second round.
Right.
And I thought, you know what, I'm going to do better than my first one.
Well, yeah, you got the experience, so.
Yeah, I got a bit more experience, so I thought, yeah, I'll give it a go. So, yeah, it came round. The first week, I walked away with a black eye because someone kneed me in the face. And the second week, I then broke my elbow.
Oh, God.
So there was no way my elbow would have healed, and for me to have enough training to be able to be in a cage in 8 weeks' time. So it took me completely out of the I say competition. It's not a competition. It's all for charity.
For charity, yeah,
but either way, by between week 3 and week 4 of training, that's when COVID-19 hit, and it meant that no one could actually do the fight. So, to be fair, Ultra MMA was been put on pause, and I actually got a text message from Ultra MMA about 5 days ago saying that they are thinking about trying to open up the gym, because obviously 17th of May is coming up when most things are allowed to open again.
That's true.
I think that does include gyms and...
Not counting the days or anything.
Aren't we all? So, you know, I kind of do want to get back into it, but the one thing that's kind of blocking me at the moment is the last time I was in that dojo, I walked out with a broken arm.
Yeah, so it's knocked your confidence a bit.
It has definitely knocked my confidence. But I would love to give it another go, but it's just that mental block of the last time I was here.
I'd imagine if you went
my
back...
My elbow got snapped.
Yeah, I'd imagine if you went back, it would take you a couple of weeks just to kind of get past that. You probably... Your second week there, you'd be like, right, okay, this is alright. I'm not going to get beaten the shit out of, and my elbow's fine. So I might be alright.
I mean, that elbow was over a year ago now. If you look at my elbows now, anything I would do from day to day, it would feel like I've not even broken it. Yeah. It's repaired, it's healed, it's back fully at 100% operation.
I'm sure they do.
It's just that mental issue.
In proper, like, you know, obviously MMA and stuff like that, I imagine they break things all the time. And then 6 weeks later, they're back in fighting again.
Yeah.
It's just part of the job, part of the career.
Yeah, exactly.
But, so you enjoy watching MMA as well?
Yeah, I do. I don't watch it as much as I should do, which is
it's hard, isn't it? It's hard. I remember talking to my partner's brother about this and saying that how unless you've got BT Sport
or a subscription
and you're paying £50 a month or whatever it is, you can't watch it unless it's on YouTube, and I just miss it, and that's what happens.
Yeah,
because I'm interested in watching it.
Is, most of these fights happen over in America.
Yes.
So obviously,
Funny times.
we live in the UK. They're, I think,
10
5
o'clock at night
hours
there.
behind us or something like that.
Oh,
maybe.
yes,
I might be
something
wrong
like
on
that.
that, so don't quote me.
6 or 5, something.
But it just basically means if we want to watch a fight live, we have to be at stupid o'clock in the morning to watch it.
Yeah, I think they're 5 behind. So if it's like 8 o'clock, but most of their big fights are like 10 o'clock at night in America. So over here it's like 4 o'clock in the morning.
I can remember doing a lock-in at the local pub just purely to watch the MMA fight.
Yeah.
And
got any,
that was at like stupid o'clock in the morning, like 4 in the morning, I think. So it is definitely so much awkward.
It's like watching boxing as well, because boxing's hardly ever in this country.
Exactly.
And I mean, I love watching boxing, but you just can't. I end up watching the highlights on YouTube at work or something on lunch
that's
break.
the thing. I just ends up watching YouTube.
Because someone's ruined the outcome anyway, so...
Oh, yeah. By the time you wake up in the morning, it will be over Facebook.
Yeah. So you are going to get back into MMA, you reckon, at some point?
I would like to. Definitely like to. I'm currently trying to do as much as I can fitness-wise to basically give myself that, like... I want to basically hit the ground running. And over lockdown, I'm sure everyone can agree with me, weight has been put on.
Just a tad.
So I've been basically trying to do as much as I can at the moment to try and shed off a bit of weight, and that includes going out for bike rides, and I'm trying to also get into climbing as well. Yeah.
Which, funny enough, brings us on to our next segment. The whole charity thing you were just talking about, obviously you did some charity, cancer research was the charity you chose?
Yeah, so this kind of nicely ties in with finishing off the subject of mixed martial arts and ultra MMA with Cancer Research UK.
This is just casual tree climbing there.
Yeah, before in my past careers, I was a tree surgeon, and that is essentially kind of what helped me get into climbing as well. But I basically did a virtual climb of Mount Everest with some friends at a local climbing centre. And originally we were meant to try and do it within the day. That did not happen. But
how many feet was that? Can you remember?
Jeez,
is it 21,000 feet or something? Is it from the base?
Yeah, it's from base camp to the
base
peak.
Camp to the top, which I think.
Oh, it should say somewhere on here. 1,106 feet. Oh wait, no, that's 1,106 climbs.
Right. Okay. Because you had like a 20-foot wall or something.
The average height, I think, at that climbing centre. Oh, jeez.
Everest is a huge 8,848 meters in height.
Wow.
And you had to do 1,100 and some climbs on that wall.
Yeah, I think the average height is about 12 foot for a climbing wall.
Oh. I mean, I struggled to just do one climb, 1,000.
So basically,
climbing out of bed's bad enough.
I spoke to a couple of people, and we all agreed that we'll go down to the local climbing wall on the Monday, and we'll go there as soon as it opens, and we'll just start climbing and tick them off as we go. And it got to Monday evening, and we were still there with climbs yet to do. And in the end, I think we were there until about Wednesday lunchtime, so we had to leave, come back Tuesday. We tried going there Tuesday morning again, and we didn't stay as late on the Tuesday, but we then had to come back Wednesday to finish off the climbs. I think we were only there for about 2 hours on the Wednesday. We didn't have that much more to do, but Jesus, it was tiring. You end up getting like blisters on your hand, like calluses, and it was tough, but it was all to raise money for Cancer Research UK for the Ultra MMA. So
it's for a good cause.
Yeah, and
all that blood, sweat, and tears, all for a good cause.
Yeah. Talk about blood, sweat, and tears. I'm pretty sure I left some of those on the
still a couple of nails in the wall.
Yeah, but just to sum up the last little bits of MMA, I actually managed to raise just over £800 for Cancer Research.
That's not nothing to turn your nose up at, is it? It's pretty good.
So every little helps.
It does.
So that was quite definitely one of the best things that I've done in my recent years of life.
Yeah.
I made a lot of good friends there that I still talk to now.
Yeah.
And that was 2 years ago. I haven't seen them since Fight Night, but I mean, half of that is because of COVID-19.
Yeah.
But
The dreaded COVID.
yeah, I still keep in contact with them over social medias. Definitely made some decent friends there. But yeah, so that kind of summed up our MMA kind of topic. But now just to talk about climbing in general, I go to the Climbing Academy, which is located in Bristol, and I've been interested in climbing for about 12 years now. On and off for 12 years though.
Yeah. So what type of is it? Obviously they got different types of climbing, haven't they? They got.
Yeah. So you've got like roped climbing, which
Right.
would be split up into traditional climbing
Mhm.
or sport climbing. So traditional or trad climbing is where all you have on you is obviously your climbing equipment, your rope, quick draws, cams, and stuff like that, and all the rope is below you, and you climb up and you put a cam into the rock, which is
I know. Yeah.
I don't know, it's hard to explain. Basically it just
Goes into the
pinches
cracks, doesn't it?
Yeah,
And
it
then
goes into a
it's
crack
got a weird
into
teeth on it.
into the rock.
What are they called?
It's called cams.
Cams. If you don't know what that is, maybe just Google cams,
Yeah, put
and they'll
in,
give you an idea.
Traditional climbing cams. That should pop up for a Google search.
Yeah.
And yeah, so basically all the ropes below you, and you've got to put in your own safety measures and your own safety equipment. So everything is down to how good of a climber and good of a
Setting yourself up.
setter.
Yeah, I guess so. I don't know what they would call it.
Yeah, so everything is down to you.
No
Which is
pressure.
scary.
If you die, it's your own fault.
I've never actually done trad climbing. It's something I'd like to do in the future, but
Yeah.
yeah, I just haven't got around to it. The other side is sport climbing, which is the rope is still at the bottom with you, but all the safety measures are currently already in place.
Right.
And
'Cause that's the one that's in the Olympics, isn't it? The sport climbing.
so in the Olympics, I think they're getting speed climbing in now, which is basically
What's
getting
it, free
to the top
climbing?
as quick as you can.
What, with a rope or no ropes?
You have ropes,
Right.
but the ropes I think are just on automatic beeline systems. So
Right,
no one's
okay.
at the bottom trying to beeline
No.
for you. I think it's just automatic. But yeah, so like sport is basically all the safety equipment's there, but you still have to clip in on your way up.
Right.
Or you have top rope, which is the rope's already at the top, and it's just simple. You climb up, you've got a belayer attached to the other end of the rope, and you just belay them, and then you let them back down again.
Have you ever done, I don't know if anyone obviously is from Bristol that's listening to this, but there is a gorge, Avon Gorge, which runs along the Portway, and quite often you'll go down there, like especially on a weekend, like, well, it was sunny earlier, it's not anymore, but you'll quite often drive down there and see people doing it. Have you ever done anything on the
I've
Bristol
never
Gorge?
done anything on Avon Gorge. There was talk about it, but I've never actually done any outdoor rope climbing.
Right, okay.
The only outdoor climbing I've done is what's called bouldering, and that's where I tend to stick around because I prefer bouldering over rope climbing. Rope climbing is more for like a stamina endurance kind of climbing, whereas bouldering is more technical. It's more strength and grip. Well, it's definitely grip strength, and it's technical kind of footwork. Bouldering is basically no ropes, but you don't go up as high. You typically go about, well, for indoor, typically go about 4 meters. Some go higher, maybe 6 meters for a high.
You used to be an instructor, didn't you, at your place?
Yeah, I used to actually be a climbing instructor, and
So you know a thing or two.
so that's the thing as well with this massive break I've had in climbing. My strength has completely gone out the window, but I still have the
Knowledge
technique down, and I know the knowledge, and I know that for this next particular move, my feet need to be in this certain position.
Yeah.
Or I need to
It's
get my
crazy.
weight over that foot to then go for this hold. So all the techniques there.
When
I need to build up the grip strength again.
I remember when I went with you and some of our other friends, and I mean, I've never done it before in my life. The first time I went, I think this was probably about 3-4 years ago, something like that. And you were showing me like there were some points where you have to turn your hips so your left hip is in the wall, so you're almost sideways onto the wall, holding on
Yeah.
and push. And I'm just like, that's just not natural. Why would I do that? Why would I? And then it's like getting your leg up and using your leg to hook yourself up, and
Climbing
I'll just die.
is, I mean, obviously I'm very biased about climbing because it is definitely one of my favourite sports. But climbing, you can get some climbers that just make it'll be a really hard problem, but since they're so good at climbing, they make it look easy.
Yeah.
And they just kind of make it look like artwork, or they just flow up the wall.
There was that I remember when we went with our friends. There was that wall where there was that guy had his shirt off and he looked ripped and all the muscles were showing and stuff like that. And he was doing one of the hardest one that was there, and he just kind of went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because obviously they're all numbered, aren't they? And he just went through it as if it was nothing. I was just completely in awe, because I just thought, if I tried to do that, either my fingers would fall off because I'm too fat, or I just I'd probably end up in hospital.
Yeah.
Cardiac arrest.
There's different sections of the numbered bit that you're talking about is circuit training,
right?
And it's basically typically 30 to 50 moves typically, and it just kind of does like a figure of 8 along one of the walls, and it is designed to basically improve your endurance, even though it's in a bouldering center.
Yeah.
Because even though bouldering is more typically strength, you obviously need your stamina.
Because this is bouldering in the photo now, isn't it?
That's actually rope climbing. So
oh, right, okay.
Since so obviously indoors there's obviously a lot of safety.
Yeah.
Indoor climbing, and obviously they got to follow regulations and all those kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Health and safety.
Health and safety is getting in the way of a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's just one climb, man.
Yeah.
No, you can do that.
If you go outdoors, I mean, you don't have to follow that.
I don't obviously recommend that anyone goes outdoors and just starts climbing someone's house, because it looks like it's climbable. But
no, I've
go
to Dartmoor to boulder, and that was actually really nice. And there was one climb, typically about the same height as an indoor climbing wall for rope climbing, and it was scary. The very last move is I had to move off a crimp, which is essentially a hold that only your fingertips can fit onto. So if you look at your hand and you see the creases between your fingers, that last crease, if the hold that you're using can only fit
your fingertips.
That last bit, that is what is classed as a crimp. And it is very scary because you've got a lot of weight on just a very tiny fraction of your fingers.
I remember seeing that they've got things in this place that you go to, this climbing place, and they got things that train your crimping, don't they?
Yeah.
Where it's just like a tiny little thin piece of wood on a wall, and you hang from your fingers for as long as you can, and they're having competitions.
I'm pretty sure, I can't remember the exact what it's called, but it sounds stupid. I think it's like the Beastmaker 2000 they've called it, or there's like, I think they brought out a new one as well, so it says like the Beastmaker 3000, and it is not lying. It will make a beast out of you.
Jeez.
But yeah, there's loads of different types of hold. So you have a jug, which is typically a very positive hold where a majority of your hand can fit into. You have crimps, which I've already discussed. We've got pockets, which is kind of says what it is. It's a hole in the wall where you can be able to fit in your fingers. You have slopers, which is they typically slope downwards, hence the sloper name. And with those kind of holds, you typically need all of your body weight underneath it to be able to get as much positive grip out of it. You've got other holds as well, but then depending on the rotation of the hold, you have a side pull, which is basically you're holding a hold, but obviously from the side of you. You have a position called Gaston, which is like a side pull, but instead of pulling from the side, you're pushing away from you to the side. So there's lots of terminology within climbing, and
I remember seeing things that people were trying. There was one part when you walked into the center, and it was just like a sphere, not a sphere, like a dome, and it was completely smooth, but you had to grip onto that to
Yeah.
then go on to the next bit. And you're watching people try and do it, and they kept falling off and stuff.
Yeah, so that would be classed as the sloper since it's sloping down sort of thing.
It just doesn't make sense. Because obviously you think normal people like myself would think when you're going to grab something, you need to have some sort of edge to it.
You want a ridge on
or
the back
to
of
grab it, yeah. But then there's like grabs in this place that you got nothing to grab onto. You just got to trust in the fact that your hand is. Well, I mean, lick your hand first, and if it sticks.
To be fair, you can get climbing chalk, which they use it in the Olympics. They also use it for professional weightlifting. It basically gets rid of all the moisture on your hands. So
don't slip.
I'm guessing, like, obviously, it depends on each individual person and how much they sweat as a person. But once you've started climbing and you can feel your hands starting to get a bit sweaty, there is chalk that you can put onto your hands and just get rid of all that moisture again, so then you can start climbing again.
And there's shoes as well.
Yeah, so again,
the most uncomfortable shoes you'll ever wear.
So
they're like ballerina shoes. That's how it reminds me.
Basically, the way the shoes work.
I don't know what they call ballerina shoes, but
for newcomers, it is recommended just to get the same climbing shoe size as your trainers because they are that uncomfortable.
Yeah.
But as you get more into it and you want to become better climber and because obviously the harder climbs, the worse the feet are going to get, and you're ending up stepping on something like, for example, the width of
a 10-pence piece.
Yeah, of a coin.
It's ridiculous.
And it is ridiculous, to be honest. But they have this special rubber on the bottoms.
Yeah.
But for that to work perfectly is your feet cannot move a millimeter within the shoes. That is the whole point. So for newcomers, obviously your feet are going to move around because you're getting the same size shoe as what you normally wear.
Because they slip in your trainers, don't they? If you've got your shoes, so they're going to slip.
But once you get onto the tougher climbs and you need, smaller shoes, people end up going 2 sizes down from what you normally are. So I'm about 7.5, maybe 8, depending on where I shop. But my climbing shoes are like 6, and it is tough. And you end up having your toes are curled up at the very edge just to get in that extra.
It's bad enough for us wearing still toe caps every day. Let alone having to wear those kind of things.
Painful. By the time you take your feet out of your shoes, you've lost your blood circulation.
Got feet like no, I was going to say you got feet like a hobbit, but you haven't got feet like a hobbit, have you?
No, but I'm definitely going to have deformed feet when I'm older, I think.
Yeah.
But, I mean, obviously that's just my personal...
Yes,
because I've gone down sizes to make me be able to climb tougher climbs. But obviously you don't need it.
With most sports that you do, there's always something like...
There's always a negative.
There is. Like with boxing, if you get punched in the head too many times, you just lose your marbles after a while.
Exactly.
And then football, you get footballers' feet when your toes just bend the wrong way. And
rugby, you tend to get
cauliflower ear. Yeah, cauliflower ear.
Yeah, so to be honest, thinking about it,
looking like you got bacon rashes on your ears.
But if you love the sport, then
that's it. You're willing to make that sacrifice. So climbing. But where is it you go? What's the name of the place you go to? If everyone's interested in Bristol, obviously starting this climbing?
Yeah, so if anyone actually is in Bristol, there's I think there's like 4 different climbing centres in Bristol now. So the one I go to is the Climbing Academy. They have 2, well actually they've got 3 centres now, but 2 of which are in Bristol.
Yeah.
You have the Mothership, which is the one I go to, which is a bouldering only climbing centre. Right. And you also have the Church, which is the ones that are currently in the 30s now, which is mainly roped climbing.
Right, okay.
You've also got Block, which is a boulder-only climbing centre, and you also have Red Point, which is...
Is that the one that's in Ashton?
Yeah, Red Point is
Ashton
in
Gate.
Ashton Gate.
It's the old cinema, I think it is, opposite the petrol station.
It used to be a cinema, and then it went to like a children's play area, and now it's turned into a climbing centre.
So obviously if you are interested in climbing, look it up.
But like back when I started climbing, there was only 2 climbing centres in Bristol.
Yeah.
But because it's got so popular in the last 10 years, they've now had to double the amount of climbing centres in Bristol because Bristol apparently loves climbing.
Right. Well, that brings us on to our next subject. Well, it doesn't, and it does, and it doesn't, because you do climbing in the next subject.
I see where you're making this connection.
Yeah. So obviously, Seb is a bit of a gamer, and I'm a gamer myself, and we both know this next subject quite a lot. So I think because of the age difference, I'm more into the older generation games, like the first one, shall I say? And whereas Seb is a little bit modern, so he's probably what was the first?
Well, let's go on to the next image so they can see where we're going.
I don't know if you can tell what this is, but this is Assassin's Creed. We wanted to talk about Assassin's Creed.
It is probably my favourite game franchise. Like, I have different games that I love like different amounts.
Yeah.
But for the franchise, Assassin's Creed is at the top of the list. And
my bum's going numb.
I can actually remember the first time I've ever played a Assassin's Creed game, and it wasn't the first one with Altair. It was the second game with Ezio, the Ezio trilogy. And I think I first got this game when I was 11.
So that was 12. Number 3, wasn't it? Because there was 2 with Altair. There was the first one and the second one. Because the second one, Altair gets older or something. I might have to look this up just to. I'm going to look this up whilst we're talking about it.
Yeah, you have a little look at this while I continue chatting away. But,
okay.
Basically, I'll tell you a little story of how I first started playing it, and I was about 11 or 12 years old, and it was my birthday, and I wanted a new game, and my nan came back with Assassin's Creed, and keeping in mind that I was 11 or 12 at the time, it was obviously an 18 game because it's all about assassins. It's all about killing people. And my mum turned around and she was like, "You understand this is an 18 game, right?" And I'm pretty sure my nan knew exactly what she was doing, but she played the dumb card and was like, "Oh, I think I've thrown away the receipt now." Right. So in the end, I did. I was allowed to keep it, and I'm so glad I was because it was amazing.
Yeah.
The first game I ever played was the Ezio trilogy.
Yeah.
And I think because that was the first one I played, that one holds I say a special place in my heart. It's like I don't want to be that kind of person, but I think Ezio, it was by far the best part of Assassin's Creed, and with Desmond Miles as well.
So number 2 was as Ezio Auditore. So that, because if I remember right, when you play him as his first one, his family are killed or something, and he kind of goes AWOL and.
Are we talking about Altair?
No, Ezio. Yeah, so how it all starts.
I can remember his father. Well, you don't learn this straight away, but his father was an assassin.
Yeah,
and I think he did die. And then
he was an assassinator. Funny enough, he was an assassin who was an assassinator. Who was assassinated.
And all these responsibilities went on to Ezio.
Without him knowing.
All of a sudden, he was then learning about the Creed. And, it's basically how he became an assassin himself. And, if you haven't played these series, I don't know what rock you're living under, but you need to go out and go buy them.
It's definitely one of them. I think it's who owns it. I can't remember who put them.
I gotta remember now. I remember the Ezio one coming out in 2009.
Ubisoft, that's the one. It's definitely one of their biggest money makers. Ubisoft.
Oh yeah, probably by far. I mean, how many Assassin's Creed games are there now?
There was quite a. There's spin-offs, but I don't class spin-offs as of games because that's just like mobile phones and stuff like that.
Yeah, don't include the spin-offs.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 12.
12 games.
12 games from one franchise.
Yeah, the first one came out in 2007.
Yeah.
The latest one being Valhalla coming out in 2020.
Yeah.
So over the gap of 13 years, they've almost brought out one per year.
Yeah.
That's how strong this game is going. They
had a bit of a hiccup, I think. But personally, that is, I think they kind of lost their direction a little bit with, I think it was Unity, where it kind of, in the London-based one, I think they kind of went a bit crazy and things weren't perfect.
In France, I believe.
Right.
Syndicate was in London.
Syndicate was London.
Yeah.
Because they were slated because there were so many glitches and so many I think they tried a new engine or something, and it was just it wasn't right. It wasn't ready.
Yeah, to be honest, it also depends on like how you play the games. For me, Black Flag was a downside because I
a lot of people
personally
love
didn't.
Black Flag.
I know that's the thing. A lot of people loved it, but I just
Never
hated
played
the
it.
fact of
You want to
going on a ship and
Yeah.
you know, it's just like, right, I need to go to that island over there, but I need to get on a ship and just basically sell there for the next 5 minutes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm pretty sure there's probably quick saves or quick travels.
Fast travels.
But Black Flag, I played
don't
it
think
once
no.
to get the storyline out of it, and then I just put it behind me. But Assassin's Creed 2, Brotherhood, Revelations, that was probably my three favourite, just because it's the Ezio trilogy.
Were you as upset as I was when Ezio dies in the catacombs?
Oh my god!
When he finds out the truth, and then he kind of goes, well, he doesn't. I don't think he dies, does he? He just kind of goes, that's it. I'm going to throw in the towel. I'm not to be an assassin anymore. It's someone else's responsibility.
Yeah, just moving on. It's just like
I was just like, oh no, I love Ezio.
Especially since there was 3 games just for his storyline.
Yeah, purely his story.
I mean, now what they seem to be doing is one
separate
game per storyline for like individual characters.
Because Origins was Egyptian.
Egypt, yeah.
Odyssey was Greek, and Valhalla's obviously Viking.
Yeah, so it's definitely it's not only just individual characters; it's completely different timelines as well.
Yeah.
So.
Which I've got Valhalla, and I haven't played much into it because I was kind of waiting for PS5, but that ain't happening now. So I played a little bit of it, and I like the idea of them going from a different direction rather than. Because obviously Desmond, I mean, I don't want to spoil anything for anybody listening, so don't listen for the next 10 minutes, because we're going to talk about the fact that Desmond's dead. Because Desmond is the main.
He was the main.
In the present time, he was the main character. Yeah, and it was all about his DNA and the memories he had in his DNA.
Yeah, because he was the connection to the previous assassins.
Yeah, and they're all trying to find the special Eden.
Piece of Eden.
Yeah, that was it. Yeah. But then obviously he dies, and he saves the world by dying and sacrificing himself, which is what I think I remember, because I can't remember if I played that one or not.
I need to replay it. Talking about it, I need to replay them.
As old as my dad is, he's played all of the assassins, and he's normally the one that tells me the information, saying that Ezio, and he said that Desmond sacrifices himself in order to save the world from the aliens that are trying to restart, which is weird. It got a bit weird because there's aliens involved. It was just like, oh, okay, this is not what I thought it was about.
Was it aliens, or was it like
the
supreme
beings,
creators of the world or something? But what I would like to see in the next game is an up-to-date modern version of Assassin's Creed.
Well, they were on about
like technology, smartphones, hacking.
That's Watch Dogs.
Yeah, that's the annoying thing, because that is very similar to Watch Dogs.
This is Ubisoft, so.
But I want to see Assassin's Creed do a version.
Yeah, I think they were going to go along that lines with Desmond's character, but I don't think they had the feedback they were expecting about him.
Yeah, maybe not have a up-to-date Watch Dogs up-to-date one, but maybe how about one in the 20th century? So maybe during World War II, and
that would be cool.
Where they went with World War II.
That would be very good if he was like, well, you would be a pure assassin. Maybe you kill Hitler.
Make Hitler aside.
Because nobody knows how Hitler died. Apparently, he blew himself away, shot himself in a bunker, but we don't actually know that because
it's either
his body's not there.
Either he committed suicide from shot.
Well, they reckon he shot himself. Well, we're going off subject, but
totally.
They reckon he shot himself with I think it was his wife or something.
Or assistant, I can't remember.
And he shot her first, and then he shot himself. This is what the rumor is, but because we can't find out, because there's no evidence or anything like that, it's just disappeared and ran off to Argentina.
I've also heard that he took a pill,
cyanide pill.
Poison.
Don't know. Or he's living on the moon.
Yeah.
Like Wolfenstein seems to think he's not the moon, Venus, I think it was, or whatever it was. That's crazy theory. There's so many theories out there for what happened.
Or he might have took a Bin Laden's world record for hide and seek.
Well, he's dead now because he's going to be over 100 years old. But Well, hopefully he's bloody dead, unless he's found a fountain of life. But anyway, back on Assassin's Creed, because we're kind of like we're kind of a little bit. Start talking about fucking theories and the conspiracies, because we could talk about conspiracies all fucking day about flat earthers. Anyway,
Maybe that's for next week.
That's for the next time, flat earthers. We're coming for you. But yeah, so I mean, yeah, I love the Assassin's Creed. I remember playing the first 1, 2, 3 of them, and I just love the fact that you could scale any building you look at.
Exactly, yeah.
And you're on top of it, and you're looking down, and you just do the crazy ass dive, and you kill someone as you're diving.
Oh yeah.
It was over the top, and it was like you'd never survive that fall, but it was just so cool.
Yeah, with a leap of faith, so you'll never survive that in real life. But
I think it was number 3 when I think you obviously had so, but he's just walking through a big crowd of people to assassinate someone in the chariot.
Oh yes.
And you're so you have to like the game made you blend in with 5 people, and you would follow their walking way. And I remember that. And I was just thinking, this is crazy. This is like next level gaming. Obviously now it looks like nothing because everyone's caught onto that bandwagon and changed it.
The world of gaming is just
it's just another fucking level, isn't it?
Increasing exponentially.
Yeah.
You know, as soon as you think, oh my god, this is it. This is like god tier game.
There's nothing else that's going to beat this.
Nothing can top that.
Yeah.
You know, 2 years down the line, it's like, well, actually, here we are.
I never thought they were going to beat the first Last of Us, to be honest with you. And then they brought the next one, and I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. Saying like every person in the game has their own name, and when you kill them, the other people will shout their name.
Oh wow.
And they're so it's just because obviously I don't know if you've played Last of Us 2.
I personally have not. I don't know about obviously or about listeners.
I mean, I'm not spoiling anything anyway, but it's just like the detail, like when you killed. So if a person has a dog, and you kill the person, the dog will go to that person and just pout and wail.
Oh, wow.
If you kill the dog, the person goes, no, not my rule, and goes really upset. You had to in it.
Oh wow, that's cool.
It gave you one of those scenarios where you just like, you kill a dog, you die, and you don't go any further in the game.
I know it's off topic again, but I don't know if you ever played the Fable trilogy.
I did on the Xbox 360. Number 2, I think it was.
I don't know if it's classed as a spoiler or not, but it gives you a similar situation where you have to make a choice between either your own pet dog or
I remember that.
Saved your village or your town or like your people, and it's like
I think I remember that.
I think that's the first
I think I chose
that
the people.
I cried about because
oh no,
it was so upsetting.
There's been a few games that have made me cry. I know people do think this is really sad, but I'm avid gamer. I mean, Last of Us 2 definitely made me cry.
Again, I've not played it, but
if you haven't played it yet, I suggest you play it. I mean, you got PS5, so play it on PS5. It looked beautiful.
We've got the first one, and
the first one was great. That was pretty sad as well. You've played the first one, haven't you?
Not all the way.
But you've obviously done the daughter bit, haven't you?
To be honest, my partner is the main one playing the game. You'll have to ask her at some point.
I can't remember what.
As your guest.
Maybe.
I doubt she
talk about Wix. But yeah, Assassin's Creed. Sorry, we've gone off topic again.
I know, right? It's
terrible.
I don't know why.
Why would we have a podcast?
Seem to be on point, but Assassin's Creed.
It's because we're talking about games and we both love games.
It's just like, I love games.
But this is good. This is what podcasting is all about. It's going off the subject and talking about random things and then just coming back onto it again. Yeah, Assassin's Creed, eh? But I never played Black Flag, and you didn't have a great experience of it. But a lot of people said it was really, really good, and it's just strange that you didn't enjoy it. But then, everyone's got their own flavour, haven't they?
I mean, to be honest, if I need to travel from point A to point B in the game, I'm not going to be a boring person and walk along the street. I'm going to be running across the rooftops and doing parkour free running to get there, because that was one of the other great things about Assassin's Creed. It was like one of the first games to. I mean, there was Mirror's Edge, which also did free running, but Assassin's Creed, I personally think, did it a lot better with freestyle. Mirror's Edge, you had to follow a path. And that was it. It
was linear, wasn't it? It made you go in a direction.
But Assassin's Creed, it was so much better to get from A to B by running along rooftops. And obviously, Black Flag took that away massively by putting you on a boat and making you go across water.
Yeah, and sailing.
But that's the reason that I personally didn't like it. I don't know. Everyone else seems to obviously like it.
What was that name of that zombie one? Where you parkoured.
Oh,
Dead.
Dying Light.
Dying Light. That's the one I was thinking of.
Yeah, Dying Light.
That was great.
I enjoyed that game actually.
Yeah.
That was one of.
See, they did that right.
Zombie games.
They didn't try to copy anyone else. They did their own. Obviously, free climbing, but it's first person, which I think made it better.
Oh yeah, first person as well. Yeah, they also had a grappling hook as well, which I think they
grappling
utilised
hook.
really well.
But that wasn't supposed to be in it.
Was it not?
No, that was a developer's thing.
No, wow.
But then they put it in because I think I don't know if this was rumours, but someone found it and was going into the program and was like, "Oh, I'm gonna activate that and use it in the game." And it because the first initial developer one, I think they just pointed at somewhere and they just walked to it, and that was what it's supposed to be. And then obviously the developers went, "Oh, hang on, this is a good idea. Why don't we introduce this into the game?"
Yeah, cool.
Because I'm sure that was part of an update or something. Grappling hook, but yeah, I remember the grappling hook. That was such a lifesaver.
Oh my god, it
Stuck
got
in
me
a
so many situations.
Yeah, you're just like being ambushed in the middle of the street, and you just go off you go.
I think we should change this topic from Assassin's Creed to just gaming in general.
Yeah,
because we have gone off topic 3 times.
Yeah, but I mean, without Assassin's Creed, that game wouldn't have come out.
Do you reckon?
Yeah, because Assassin's Creed, they introduced that parkour side of everything, free climbing. Because there wasn't really, I mean, apart from like the original Tomb Raiders, and there's probably other games out there, but I can't think of any. But there wasn't really a game where you could free climb. There was games where, like the original Uncharted, you could climb. I was
going to suggest Uncharted,
but it had a path for you to follow, like Tomb Raider.
Yeah.
It has a path for you to follow, so you could climb.
But then Assassin's Creed
was completely free.
World.
There was still. I suppose if you think of like the original Assassin's Creed, there's still a path that you had to follow, but it wasn't. You didn't have to go, up, left, right, left, up. Whereas you could just go straight up if you wanted to, or you can go over to the other side.
Choose your own route
and you can stop there. Yeah,
the path.
I think that's what they made.
Path.
And then with that, obviously, it opened up this whole because obviously that is what's the word I'm looking for? That's obviously like an engine that they've built for it. And then that engine has inspired other people to do Dying Light and stuff like that. And I think there's quite a lot of games now that do have that sort of free climbing aspect into it.
I think the whole point, I don't know, for me, I think the whole point of gaming is to basically let you experience things that you probably won't be able to do in your real life.
Well,
I would love to be able to free run. I do not have the physical body for it, or...
No.
The skill.
I think you got to have the cojones for it as well.
I mean, firstly, I can't run. I just can't run. That's a full stop right there. I cannot run. And I've given it a go every now and then. When I was younger, back in like secondary school.
Yeah, or jumping between bins and stuff.
Yeah,
and
doing
roofs.
like running just
6
running
foot off the
across
ground.
Garages. And, I'll try and do like kind of like an assisted backflip like from a wall.
Yeah.
Never managed to do it on my own. It was always had to be assisted. But yeah, I gave it a go every now and then kind of gave up because I think it's one of those things where you either need to put in a lot of time and effort or you're just naturally quite good at it anyway.
I think I know that this is we're divulging. Free running I can understand for people that live in cities and stuff like that, where everything's really close by, everything's close together. But I think you're the same as me. We were brought up in the country where it's just open fields and roads and stuff.
When I was younger, I was in the countryside, and it's just...
So there wasn't anything to jump on, apart from cows and farmers, and they didn't like it when you jump on cows and farmers, that is.
But yeah, no...
It was more about building dens and...
Yeah, dens and
stuff like that.
Going into the woods. And
shit in the rain. All that sort of stuff you shouldn't do.
So yeah, I definitely think, gaming, Assassin's Creed and stuff like that, for me, it gives me that opportunity to kind of experience what it could be like for me to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's definitely something that developers are probably aiming to try and achieve. A, obviously entertainment, but B, to kind of give you that experience.
Sense of release.
Yeah.
Yeah.
it kind of just gets you away
I
from
explain this to the missus all the time.
Like home stress. It just gets...
It does.
Takes you outside of your world of living and chucks you into a simulated version of...
There's a generation of people, there's a generation of people that don't understand why people like gaming.
Oh yeah, and it's typically the older generation.
Yeah, because
no offense,
they have their own way of escaping life, and that works for them. It's fine. Myself and Seb, we have our own way of escaping for life, and that's playing a game and sitting in front of the TV and just spending an hour or two just playing a game and just getting out, just forgetting all your worries and everything else. And I don't know what the next generation's going to have. Probably TikTok or something. But
well, I've been looking into this a little bit, but do you know, obviously we've got VR at the moment.
Yeah, they reckon it's virtual reality there.
It's going to step up a lot in the next 10, 20 years. It's not just going to be a headset on your head. It's going to be like a trackpad underneath you, and you can walk and run on it but stay in the same spot, and it will literally almost import yourself into the virtual world of gaming.
Crazy,
so it's no longer sat on a sofa with a controller in your hand looking at a TV monitor.
You're actually using your body.
Actually, you are the player.
Yeah. And we'll be the people sat in there going, why'd you do that all day? Why didn't you go outside and enjoy the sun? And you're just like, God, Dad, I don't know.
I absolutely love technology. I love
it's exciting, isn't it?
And it's just one of those things that it's just going to get better and better and better.
Yeah.
And, you know...
It is quite exciting thinking about VR.
Yeah.
And augmented reality and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly. It's insane what's happening in the world at the moment with VR.
That's true.
And I know that
you can stand up in your...
Countries are training their soldiers using virtual reality simulations.
Yeah, yeah.
And if it's good enough for the...
Well, everything tends to filter down from the military, doesn't it?
Man, yeah.
Their mobile phones and satellites and stuff.
Oh yeah, exactly. That's a good point, actually. You know, what we would class now as old-fashioned radios and walkie-talkies
all came from the military.
All the rage back in the military world, where they used it to talk to other teams.
Well, that's because
now a smartphone.
Yeah.
Essentially, it's built down to a smartphone.
That's where, so obviously research, and we're going off. We're just talking shit.
Yeah, we're literally just going from.
But that's where all the money is in research and development for military.
Yeah.
That's where countries are putting their money into because they want to protect their people as well as themselves, and investing in new technologies, new more advanced technologies puts them on a different level to everyone else in the world. So everyone's like, okay, we'll better step back and not mess with them. And that's what ends up filtering down to us, like satellites, like GPS, for example. That was used in the military first in order to locate things. And now you get in your car and turn your radio on, and up comes a GPS on you and tells you where to get to work.
Exactly.
So it's like...
It's just insane, the technology. Did you know that the common laptop has more computing power than the computers they used to first send astronauts to the moon?
That's mad.
That is insane.
Yeah.
And that required a full room of computers, monitors, circuit boards, all sorts. And now we have more computing power on one single laptop. That's
crazy,
how far technology has gone.
Yeah. The only thing I think of when I think of like how far things have come, and mobile phones is obviously one of the easy ones, but when I remember when I was younger and my mum and dad had a TV, it wasn't a flat screen on a stand. It was a box. It was bigger than a mic. It depends how big the TV was, but it was a big box, the size of a microwave, or bigger, and it had a curved screen on it. It wasn't a flat screen. It was like curved, and it came bulged out, and you had to.
Static.
Oh, you had to flick the buttons and stuff. That was like the first TV I can remember. And I remember having it. We used to have it in the kitchen, and it was one of those that you'd hit. If it was playing up, you just go to it and bang it on the side, and it sort of stuff out.
Yeah.
And now you look at TVs now, and they're like paper thin, and the quality out of them is just ridiculous. The fact you connect it to your internet when you can watch stuff off the internet on it.
I mean, you'd think
I'm old.
LCD was a decent TV, but now you get an OLCD, which is an organic LED. and it just basically makes
What's next?
it makes your blacks blacker, your whites whiter, your blues bluer. It makes everything
Makes it
so
pop.
much more clear.
Yeah.
And it instead of having obviously white is basically a build up of every other single color.
Yeah.
And it basically, the way TVs work, if you zoom up on a TV monitor, it will have your basic primary colors there.
Yeah.
No matter what is on your monitor, unless yours obviously switched off, it will have your basic three colors, primary colors right there. And the way they make different colors on the screen is they just turn up the brightness of
that certain color.
Of that certain color
Yeah.
to make up your secondary colors. But with these new LCD screens, that color is no longer there. It's just pure black.
Yeah.
And they only activate to a different color when it needs to. And then that's how they're making it better, brighter, more so all these so many pixels per inch or whatever. Now that's going to be a thing of the past because it don't actually matter anymore.
1080p.
Yeah, it don't. These new TVs,
it's 420 now, isn't it?
Require because it's no longer going to have pixels
4K
to change colors. It's going to be legit.
But how will they measure it there, I wonder?
Oh wow, that's
it would just be called OLED, wouldn't it, I guess? Or LCD, should I say. Yeah, anyway, that's we're not talking about too much about technology because we'll bring that up in the next podcast that we do.
Yeah. Honestly, so many different topics that we've gone on to that could just literally be its own podcast.
Yeah, I think that was... Well, thanks for coming along, Seb.
Yeah, thank you. It was a pleasure being here, and it was great to have a chat with you.
Yeah, thank you very much. Hopefully the audio didn't get messed up too much from my interfering. I thought I was turning down my microphone, when in fact I was turning down all of it, but we'll listen back in a minute and double check it. But hopefully you all enjoyed this podcast with us. Been joined with Seb from SLGaming. Check him out on YouTube, Twitch, and...
I'm also on TikTok as well, and I've also got a Discord link, most of all of which you can find on my Twitch page, which is SLGaming 001. But if you, for the streaming photos that came up, the SLGaming is that profile picture that I use. So if you want to try and find that on Twitch, we'll quickly go back to so that image right there. That is my profile picture for Twitch, YouTube, and TikTok. Just look out for that one when you type in SLGaming, and you should be able to find me pretty easily from that.
Cool. Well, thank you very much again. I hope you enjoyed yourself as much as I enjoyed having a chat. Hopefully you come back for the next one, when we have the next one, which will probably be in a week's time.
Excellent. That sounds good.
We'll have a bit more time for planning then. But well, thanks guys for listening. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll speak to you next time. Enjoy.
Bye.
Bye-bye.